guys, I'm sorry. I can't bring myself to produce something at the same level as what I did last week. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I understand that, the editing, the lighting, the sound design, the visual effects, the camera work. So many of you said, shit, am I watching a Nolan film? Thanks, by the way, I appreciate that. I even mentioned acting levels. Could be watching Hollyoaks. Like, Oscar-level performances coming at you. I can't do it every week. Like, lightning in a bottle and all that. There's only so much quality I can put out there. So, yeah, no grand production this week. A lot of teams just don't deserve a grand production. As shown by the recap I'll leave up on the screen for you now. 3 out of 6. I haven't changed the name of a certain team yet. I probably should. There you go. Sorry. They kind of deserve it still, but let's crack on with the first game this week. Kicking off round 19, we have the Huddersfield Giants taking on Leeds Rhinos, starting with league position. Huddersfield are in 9th, Leeds are in 7th. For recent form, the Giants have won 1 in their last 5, Leeds have won 2 in their last 5. And for power rankings, I have the Giants in 10th and the Leeds Rhinos in 9th. So the first thing to really talk about, this is quite an interesting one because of the 2 new coaches. They've been there for what? A week and a half, 2 weeks? Like in charge on both sides, possibly. There's 2 ways of looking at it. Number 1, Robinson has been part of that group for a while, has a good rapport with each of those players, and I think we'll want to do something different to what Ian Watson did. We'll possibly want to put his own stamp on things, change things up a little bit, and get creative. So Brad Arthur and the rest of the team, the coaching staff, won't really have an exact idea of what Robinson will want Huddersfield to do. The only reference they've got is the game against Salford. But Brad Arthur, on the other side, 10 years at the Parramatta Eels, fantastic coach. The only negative I could see there is if he's a divisive figure, like if he doesn't really get on with the players, expects too much, or really bashes a lot of players. I don't know. I don't think he's that kind of coach. I think he's the type that would galvanise a team and bring them together. Plus, a coach of his quality with another week with that team. Plenty of NRL talent in there. Lockie Miller, Paul Momirovski, Brodie Croft, Matt Frawley. Like, in key positions as well, that understand what Brad Arthur's about, and they'll respond to him pretty quickly. Off the back of a, I suppose, energetically improved performance against Hull KR, but, still work to be done. And the Giants will probably take a lot of confidence from that win against Salford. But I think overall, just based on the individual players, Leeds do have the better squad overall. The Giants will certainly have confidence from their win. Leeds, I don't think it'll take too much sting out of them losing to Hull KR. I think they'll just want to look at just being slightly improved over the last couple of weeks. But I think Brad Arthur can get the best or better out of Leeds this week, as they've got better individuals against Huddersfield. So I'm going to go with Huddersfield Giants 22, Leeds Rhinos 28. Next up, we have the Wigan Warriors taking on the Warrington Wolves. Starting with league position, Wigan are in 1st, Warrington are in 2nd. For recent form, both have won 4 in the last 5 Super League games. And for power rankings, I have Wigan in 1st, Warrington in 3rd. So, key players missing. On the side of Wigan, there's no French or Field. French has another 5 or 6 weeks to go, I believe. Field has until September, if I remember correctly. For Warrington, there's a few key players missing. Fitzgibbon, Philbin, Hayes obviously out for the rest of the season. I think Crowther, Ratchford now. Harrison will be missing for this game. Possibly missing someone else as well. Wrench, obviously. So, Wesley Bruins, I don't know whether he's available yet. If he is, this would be a great time to bring him in, but it looks like, at least in the left centre position, there could be a child. A child at left centre. So, here's the thing. Wigan, with some young players in there, with Faramond, with Eckersley, very inexperienced. At least now they've had 80 minutes under their belt. Wasn't the result they wanted against Hull FC, obviously. I still thought they could get the job done. But they've had 80 minutes under the belt. I don't think they'll really change that team. I don't think they really can, to be honest. That's pretty much the best team they'll have available right now, unless they change the forwards a little bit. But they'll have pretty much the same team, I think. They'll have another week under their belt, so I think defensively they'll be a bit more sure of themselves. They did well to shut Warrington down in the Challenge Cup final. The defensive line speed was great. So even with inexperienced players in there, I think defensively they'll do well to shut Warrington down plenty of times. And then the difficulty on Warrington's side is that left centre position where an inexperienced lad is probably going to come in. I don't know who it's going to be. I can't think of the names that played in that regular season match at the Halliwell Jones. But I'm expecting a very inexperienced player at the left centre position. I don't think Toby King is also injured. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Warrington. I think Wigan will probably win the battle through the middle. My main expectation is that the fact that French is missing, I think, is the most important thing here in favour of Warrington. I think he is the difference. That is it. If French is playing, I've got no doubts that Wigan probably get it done. So, I think just the fact that he's not there. Faramond has had some great moments, by the way, so I'm not knocking him. But I think Warrington will find ways to shut him down. Same with Eckersley. They will both have great moments, by the way. They will come up with some great moments. Possibly even a try for one or the other. We will see. But I think Warrington now, 4 wins on the bounce. They've gotten over that slump around the Challenge Cup final. They've had that big brawl with both full teams against Wigan. I understand I've gone with Warrington most weeks here, but I think given the fact that there's no French or Field, Warrington will be relatively full strength, just no Harrison, but I think he's fairly easily replaceable. But someone new at left centre is the tricky situation. I think Warrington will be okay. It'll be tough through the middle, but creating opportunities, I think Dufty and Williams will be fine. I think maybe Smith controlling the kicking game will do better than Drinkwater and will be pinned back a lot, but I think ultimately we'll just about get it done. I think it'll be relatively low scoring. I think defensively this will be a great effort on both sides, so relatively low scoring. So I'm going to go with Wigan Warriors 14, Warrington Wolves 16. Next up we have Hull Kingston Rovers taking on London Broncos. Starting with league position, Hull KR are in 3rd, London are in 12th. For recent form, Hull KR have won 4 in their last 5 Super League games. London have won 0 in their last 5 Super League games. For power rankings, I have Hull KR in 2nd, London Broncos in 12th. So, here's the thing. The only way that I see London winning this is if, 1, they are disruptive, so their defensive line speed is very quick, and they keep that up for basically 80 minutes. There's 1. 2, lack of errors and great discipline. And 3, is if basically Hull KR beat themselves up. As long as Hull KR don't drop the ball constantly, don't give away too many stupid penalties, and don't let London eat them up through the middle, with meters and carries, Hull KR should be fine, completely dominating this game. So yeah, that's the only way I see London doing anything, is just being disruptive defensively, and just Hull KR being well off it on their own terms. But yeah, I think Hull KR should do fine to dominate through the middle. They spread the ball extremely well, unless London can actually take Mikey Lewis out the game. But he's individually brilliant, so can pretty much slot himself in wherever required. Jez Litton can do his thing through the middle, setting that ruck speed. Niall Evalds out the back, May popping up, where needed. Those halfbacks controlling the game on either side, I think, Hull KR will be completely fine. But yeah, that's it. The only way that Hull KR will lose this game is if they beat themselves up. And I think they are good enough to not do that, especially at home as well. The fans will be right on them, and they don't want that. So I'm going to go with Hull Kingston Rovers 42, London Broncos 12. Next up, we have Leigh Leopards taking on St Helens. Started with league position, Leigh are in 8th, Saints are in 4th. For recent form, Leigh have won 3 in their last 5 Super League games, Saints have won 1 in their last 5 Super League games. For power rankings, I have Leigh in 6th, St Helens in 4th. So on the side of Leigh, you've got strong defence over the last 6 weeks. There have been 1, maybe 2 games where they've conceded either 20 plus or close to 20. But score-wise, they've been pretty good. Even when they lost to Hull KR, they only conceded 12. It was 12-0. And they've had a few others in there. I think there was 10-2 that they won or lost to Catalans. I can't quite remember. I do apologise. But I think they won 10-2, so only conceded 2. Defensively, they've been pretty good. Over the last 6 weeks, they've actually been pretty good. Attacking-wise, can be a little bit hit and miss. But I think we'll be okay in this game because of the individuals that they've got. They can kind of switch it on at any given time. On the side of Saints, in attack against Warrington, they're very slow and very stale. That has been the case for them a good few weeks this season. They may have to use their young and inexperienced players again. Now, suppose having those 80 minutes against Warrington would do Robertson the world of good and Vaughan the world of good at right centre. So that could help them. The fact that technically they'll be coming up against a, worse opponent in Leigh. So they've, had a tougher game against Warrington and should hopefully be easier for them against Leigh. But I think Leigh can beat them through the middle with the forwards that they've got. Saints are very depleted at the moment in that area. And I think given the kind of the disorganisation that they've got defensively in some cases, Leigh should be okay. And I think the fact that they could have the young, inexperienced players on the edges and be a little bit out of shape, I think the fact that Leigh have such experienced players on the edges will just do them the world of good and will be the main factor in this game. Is just like the likes of Lemuelu, Hardacre, Charnley. I think they'll be fine in this game. Saints are still making competitive, but I do think that Leigh has actually got this one. It feels weird thinking that Saints are going to lose 5 on the bounce. Not that, they're not guaranteed to lose this game, but I just don't think they've got it in them right now. They just feel very sluggish, very lethargic, and they just feel a bit beaten at the minute. So I'm going to go with Leigh Leopards 18, St Helens 14. Next up, we have Salford Red Devils taking on Castleford Tigers. Starting with league position, Salford are in 6th, Castleford are in 10th. For recent form, both teams have won 3 in their last 5 Super League games, and for power rankings, I have Salford in 7th, Castleford in 8th. So for Salford, they're still a strong team. They are still a strong team. They're a good team, but they're just in bad form at the moment. It's not really clicking. For one reason or another, it's just not really clicking right now. They did look very low energy against Huddersfield. I would expect them to snap out of it this week. Possibly a bit of a kick up the backside, bit of a wake-up call against Huddersfield. We're still in a playoff fight here. We shouldn't be losing those kind of games. They've also been put under a lot of pressure against Castleford this season, even early on, when Castleford weren't looking that great. Salford should have been pretty clear against them early on in the season, but Castleford still made it very tough towards the end. And Castleford beat Salford. How many weeks ago was it? Not too sure. But on the side of Castleford, looking consistently competitive now. They're controlling games, or at least a lot more moments in the games. Resilient defensively. And they're strong in attack, especially since Hoy's come back in, or come into the team, I should say. Castleford just look really, really solid at the moment. Now, so does Salford. They're still a strong team, but I think maybe Castleford is just a bogey team for Salford this season. Maybe that's it. And I'd like to think that, and this is not because of what Salford's been doing, by the way, just want to make that clear. Even though I do sound very sarcastic a lot of the time, it's not. I'm not going against Salford because of recent stuff, although Salford fans might actually be happy about the fact I'm going against them because, well, they don't like listening to me. But I do think Castleford are actually just... I don't know if the real deal is the right term to use, but I actually have a lot of trust in them right now. This is a game that... It's not one that they should win, but it's one that they should win if we want to take them seriously as a playoff team. Again, it's going to be extremely difficult to do, and again, that's something I'm going to have to work out, like what results they need as a bare minimum. But this is the kind of game that they should be at least competitive in for us to continue to take them seriously going forward for the rest of the season and going into next season as well. But for this round, I'm going to go with Salford Red Devils 20, Castleford Tigers 26. Finally, for this round, we have the Catalans Dragons taking on Hull FC, starting with league position. Catalans are in 5th, Hull FC are in 11th. For recent form, Catalans have won 3, Hull FC have won 2 in their last 5 Super League games. And for power rankings, I have Catalans in 5th, Hull FC in 11th. So, on the side of Catalans, they're very, very, very inconsistent at the moment. I don't know what Catalans team we're going to get. A little bit like Huddersfield a few months ago and Salford now, they are still a good team, can be a great team, but bit of inconsistency, form, dropping at some moments, picking up in others. They're really difficult to place right now. For Hull FC, with Moy, with Truman, they do look a lot better in attack. So that is one thing. The scramble defence has also been really good. The work rate defensively has been great. I don't know if they can replicate what they did against Wigan and cause another upset. I don't know if it's in that team. I do think they can put up a good chunk of points here. But I don't know. I don't just want to go on a week-to-week basis like, oh, now Hull FC, best team in the league. They could be. Who knows? But yeah, I just think it'll kind of go back to normal a little bit. Catalans will want to right the wrongs of last week and really bounce back with a strong performance. And Hull FC, I don't think they've got it in them to put in performances like that back-to-back. So I think Catalans should pretty much be fine in this game. Aside from like sin bins, red cards, or injuries that could happen, I don't think Catalans really have any excuse to lose this one. They've got the strongest squad overall in defence, in attack. Catalans should be fine, but of course I thought Wigan would be as well, even with key players missing. So what do I know? But I'm going to go with Catalans Dragons 32, Hull FC 16. So that's going to be it for my Super League Round 19 predictions. If you've got your own, do let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know how you got on last week. But if you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like. It does help get the video out there to more people. If you want to stay up to date with Rugby League content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. But that's going to be it. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.